2015, powered by Optima batteries. I'm Ian Johnson. On stage with me this morning, of course, is Jim. We're ready to have a little bit of qualifying today, aren't we?
We are indeed. It's great to be back in Hammertown. It's a beautiful day here. The sun is shining. After the weather we've had all this week, it's great to see that big orb back in the sky. We've got some fantastic qualifying coming today. We've got the 4800s and the 4500s, and it's sure to be a good show.
I think it's going to be a great show. You know, this qualifying is not required for these classes. It's just sort of optional, but it is important for their starting position when it comes to their race later this week.
Absolutely, it's all to play for. Everyone wants to get that whole shot off the line. They want to be number one when they leave that line in a couple of days' time. So it's going to be really interesting. We've got a power hour also today. We're going to see all the big guns out there. It's going to be great to see.
That's going to be awesome. All right, well, let's just take a quick break, and then we'll come back to the action.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
We didn't just test the new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology, we tortured it. King of the Hammers is 181 battery-killing miles of relentless, unforgiving hellishness. It's one thing to call yourself the ultimate power source. It's another thing to prove it. The all-new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology with up to 3 times the battery life. Unsurpassed performance built to fit today's vehicles. Optima, the ultimate power source.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Hammertown. Here we are. We're ready to start qualifying. Jim, I got to say, this is probably one of my most favorite parts of the week because you get to see these guys out. They're going to shake down the cars, get it on the racetrack, probably for the first time that we get to see them in action.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. These guys are going to be so pumped. They're going to be so excited to be out here. They can now put all that hard practice into effect on that course. And this course, have you seen it? It's amazing. They really pulled out the stops on the short course this year. Big flowing turns, massive jumps, rocks. We're going to have lots of action today.
Yeah, and as we said before, the qualifying for these particular classes is not required. It is optional. If they choose not to qualify, they go into that sort of luck of the draw sort of
absolutely back of the pack stuff. Now, there's some guys who are going to be wanting that. They want to be hunting people down, but there's going to be other guys like Casey Gilbert, of course, who's going to be want to be right at the pointy end of this race. They're going to want to qualify hard, and it's going to give us some really exciting action today.
Absolutely, but it is still that crapshoot. You know, you get out there, you hurt your car in qualifying, you've got some work to do. You know, there's 2 schools of thought. One is save it for the race, or 2 is get out there, get a good starting position, possibly, you know, stress that car a little bit, but have a better position on race day.
Well, there's the other view as well. If you're a racer, if you can't finish this prologue course, you ain't going to finish on the main course. So these guys will just be using this as that final shakedown.
Absolutely. Either way, it's going to be great to watch here, and it's cool coming to you live from the lake bed. You're going to see some amazing qualifying action, and we're going to get off the line shortly.
Yeah, we've got car 4842, Daniel Satch, going to be leaving the line first for us today. It's going to be fantastic to see. Very shortly, we're going to have the roar of engines as our fast car hits that course.
I think that, you know, the neat thing is it's kind of a mixed qualifying today. We got 2 different classes qualifying versus later in the week we'll see the 4400s out there qualifying all in the same class. So you'll see 2 different schools of thought out there with these drivers. Some of them are going to be a little bit more aggressive, then you see guys who are just racing their race pace. It may seem like they're off, but they're still actually in the game.
Absolutely. And also we've got to remember we've got different classes out there. So we've got 4800s and 4500s. So what are these? The 4800s are what we call Legends class cars. Okay, and then we've got the 4500s, which are our stock modifieds. So each of these cars have different things going on, and they have different suspension systems, different tyre sizes, and we'll go through that as the day goes on and start pointing out some of the differences between these vehicles.
Absolutely, and I just heard from Race Ops, we got 15 seconds, so the first car is going to leave the line, and it's going to get kicked off here. Hammertown, the first Ultra 4 car, going to take off, do some qualifying. It's going to be a great day. All right, that's Daniel Satch off the line into the short course. It's a really cool qualifying course. They got a little short course place here that everyone can sort of watch right here into Hammertown before they take off and tackle a little bit of the rocks.
Indeed, he's over the first jump nice and safely. He's got fantastic shots here as he comes into the first of the big Talladega bends. Got a throttle deep here, hold it down, keep it in, nice and tidy. Now we saw a few rollovers on the next corner last year, and so it's going to be interesting to see what these guys do. They'll all have a plan, where they want to point the car. The course markers have been out there today. They've been clearing that course down, and it's a really perfect sand conditions for these guys today.
Yeah, and even though we had a little bit of rain, it actually helps out a little bit. It's going to keep that stand packed down a little bit more on that short course. You can actually see it's been watered to keep the dust down here inside of Hammertown, and they'll leave the line in staggered positions. And we really don't know what a fast time is yet because we haven't got anyone back in here yet.
Absolutely. No, we'll be getting there. The time's got to get faster and faster as the day goes on. Obviously, we've got our favourites out there on course. As car number 2 leaves the line now. That is number 75, Scott Foley.
Scott Foley, yeah.
Much more aggressive start there from Scott. He's going to be sending it hard. As we're just watching there, 48-42, is he, we're not sure what's happening there, whether he might be lost, whether he's broken something already. But certainly we've got a car stuck on course.
That would be a good way to start the qualifying day. But either way, he is not moving on that qualifying course, or he's trying to turn around is what it looks like. There we go.
So car number 2, 75, Scott Foley's going to be coming up on him, or has he been held? He's being held on course. So our course marshal's there doing a great job, just stopping him off there. Now he might be sent back to the start, he might just be given a time break from that point. We'll get confirmation of that as soon as we have it. Okay, we're just getting a confirmation from Race Ops that car number 2, 75, Scott Foley, was sent a little bit too early, so he's going to be brought back to the start line and get to start his run once again. Safety first here at King of the Hammers.
It is one of those things, you know, if you get too many cars out on that qualifying course, it will not only affect people's safety, but it can affect their time. If you get a fast car behind a slower car, you don't want to be that guy because that's going to affect your starting position. So it's the right decision here to send him back to the start, give him that space that he needs to get out there and get a good qualifying lap.
Yeah, I've had that happen to me. It's not a nice experience. I was in a 4900 class car many years ago, and we had a puncher on course, and we had Tom Ways come up behind us. That was pretty scary.
Could you see the mustache from that far away, though? Or?
All we could see was steam and anger.
It's good to see Tom back out here again racing this year, and it's going to be fun to see him out.
It's worthwhile talking about that. We have so many new cars here once again this year, and this event just grows and grows. I mean, the UTV race yesterday, I mean, just wow, over 100 vehicles out there, and the racing was intense. We see so many of our 4400 class superheroes, so many of our desert superheroes now stepping into that class and using that as an opportunity to pre-run for the main races.
Absolutely. You know, I was actually, we got a...
As watching Ken Foltz now leaving off the line, engine blazing as he roars towards that first Talladega bend.
just hearing that Daniel Satch, it was actually stopped on course with a problem, so he is not going to finish. So we still don't have a good qualifying benchmark time. Hopefully we'll have Ken Faltz will get back in here and we'll have sort of a number for everyone to shoot for.
Yeah, well, Kent's a seasoned competitor, been coming here for many years. Kent's making his way up through the rocks now. Look at that, good control. And fantastic images from our production crew here, who all through the rest of this week will be bringing us the best footage from King of the Hammers 2019.
And I think that's one thing that, you know, I always say to everyone, if you can't get here, you've got to watch the live stream. They do such a good job of this live stream. You know, even if you're at Hammertown and just hanging out, you've got guys come down here and watch on the Jumbotron. It's definitely worth tuning in all week to see this action brought right to your house. So we got a restart here with Scott Foley. He was let off the line a little bit early, so he's now back in line. We'll wait and see if we can get a finisher in here, just so we get a time for him to shoot for.
We're just watching the clock now as we're waiting for Ken Foley to come on round. Ken Foltz, sorry. And it's going to be really interesting because this is going to be the first time that we actually see. So we can actually get an understanding as to how fast this course is as we watch Kent here as he's coming down through short bus. Car working hard. Skipping over the rocks as he comes, looking good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's good to get that qualifying lap out of the way early because then you're back in and you actually have your number in place. But also, you don't have a number to shoot for. You know, if you're that first guy out there, you're ticking off that first number. Everyone behind you is now chasing you. So it can affect how hard you push that car.
So we're watching this. Scott Foley as we cut back to Kent. And he's making his way back now into Hammertown. We'll get an idea on how fast this course is going to be. Heading up round to the Jeep Arch as Scott Foley blazes from the line. They've got multiple lines here as they come down through the Jeep Arch. It's going to be interesting to see which lines different people take. They'll already been pre-running as he comes around now to the finish line. And we're just waiting for confirmation on Kent's time.
Once we see Kent's time, we'll have a number for everyone else to shoot for. He'll be the first car to come in and actually finish the qualifying round.
And we're watching Scott Foley out there at the moment, looking nice and tidy. He's coming around, lots of power around that bottom bend, swinging it back towards the rocks once more. And it's worth remembering, this class of cars, they're running 37-inch tyres. Okay, so these aren't the big guns that we're seeing on 40s and 42s, and so they've got to conquer all of these rocks with 37-inch tyres, and that's no easy task. These rocks, they look reasonably small on the video, but once you're actually out there, they're huge.
Oh, it's a game changer for sure, and not only a 37-inch tire, a 37-inch DOT tire. And that's a huge thing for those of you at home. The reality is, if you're running a true race car, you may run a tire that looks like a regular tire that you can go into the tire shop and buy, but it's not the same. 4400 guys usually run a race spec tire, has a different compound, maybe some changes in the tire. You usually don't get that information from the tire manufacturers, to be honest with you, but these guys have to run a 37-inch DOT tire, same tire that you can buy off the shelf and put on your tow rig, because that's where 37s belong, to be honest with you, not on a race course. But these guys make them work for sure.
And this is a single shot car because it's a 4800 class car. And Scott's making a great job here. He's looking nice and tidy, but he's giving it absolutely everything. Often seeing more than 2 wheels off the ground as he makes his way down through short bus. It's a great looking car. Bomber style rig. As we watch our next car leave the line. So we're getting confirmation right now that Kent Fultz ran a 2:54 as Scott Foley heads now down towards the line. Be interesting to see what we get.
Yeah, so 2:54 will be the benchmark time that everyone's basically chasing for the rest of the day, and we'll just sort of see how much of that number gets dropped off as we work through this list. And we do have at the back end of this, we're actually having a power hour today in this class as well, which will be kind of fun to see. I think that's
we got a rollover on course. Look at
that's
this.
not good.
That looks like Rick. Is that Rick? I think that might be.
All right, so we have a rollover on course. You see the course workers out there trying to clear that. We can keep our qualifying going.
So we see our recovery crews now coming to the rescue of this guy. And it just goes to show how hard these guys work on the Pro Look. They really means everything. They want that front slot.
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. You know, you want to get out there. It's really your first race of the week. You know, it's your qualifying race, and you get out there and you want to race your car. You don't build these cars to sit there and look at them. These are hardcore off-road race vehicles. You want them out there. You want to get there and stretch their legs and have some fun. And yeah, pre-running's one thing, but this is the first. You got all dressed up to dance. It's time to dance.
Absolutely. No, these guys, they want that first position. They want pole position. They want to be far up as possible. Makes a big difference when you get out on that desert loop, particularly if it's a still day and the dust is rising in big clouds.
What also makes a huge difference in these classes, because when they leave the line, yes, we have 3 different classes leaving that day, but there are some cars in those, we'll call them lower classes, that can pick off cars in the faster class on that first desert loop. You know, the savvy crew is no mystery to getting a car out there and moving fast through the desert, but you still want to be as far ahead on that pack as you can.
Yeah, there's been changes to that over the years, whereas previously we used to be sent off in classes, so it'd be like the 4500s first, then the 4800s, and then going on from behind that. Now they're actually going out and qualifying time. So even if you're a 4500 or 4800, if you qualified first, you're going out first. If you qualified second, irrespective of class, you're going out. It's a much better system, and it's just one of the many ways that Hammers is improving as the years go by.
Absolutely. And it's also another reason to get out there and qualify, because in the old, we used to just sort of take the luck of the draw, you know, because you knew you'd be with your class on the course. But now, a mistake like this or a DNF on that qualifying lap, you're going to be at the back of the pack hunting your way through all 3 classes. Yeah,
and that's hard work. Once you get out on that desert loop, it's very dusty. I was chatting to some of the guys who've been out on this on the first loop, and they say it's very tight in places, particularly when you get out to Cougar Buttes and stuff like that. It's a single line traffic, so it's really important to qualify as hard as you can to get that first line right at the front, so you can pick your line through without any hassle, without people shuffling and buntering you and giving you a real problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think clean air is important, but also, you know, it's when you talk to these guys, or if you've ever been out there racing yourself, you know, sometimes you want that little dust cloud. It's like, it's that little thing that you need to chase, because it can help you push you just a little bit further. All right, well, while we clean up that course right now, we're just going to take a quick break. We line up the rest of the racers. Got to get this car back on its tires before we can keep qualifying here for the 2019 King of the Hammers, powered by Optima batteries.
Go inside. Stay warm. Some call that a nice winter day. We'll have to agree to disagree.
Your bearings shoulder the burden whenever you tow, haul, or stop the gas. AMSOIL delivers powerful protection for bearings and other critical components, so you can drive with confidence. To demonstrate, an independent lab put AMSOIL synthetic motor oil head-to-head against a leading competitor in a 100,000-mile test. AMSOIL provided far superior wear protection and kept engine bearings looking like new. Get your truck the protection it deserves at amsoil.com/auto.
punishment. Steel and polyurethane coating is proven protection. The stainless steel formulation shields against corrosion and protects against the toughest terrain. It's weldable, so there's no need to remove the coating. Just weld right on it. Go to steel-it.com for more.
Go further. Go safer. Gasoline transfer tanks for Jeeps, SUVs, pre-runners, and chase trucks. Tanks made in the USA, backed by a lifetime warranty. Includes an easy-to-use shaker siphon that transfers over 2 gallons per minute. Proven tough in the deserts of Baja, the trails of Moab, all the way to the race course. Venture further. Visit TitanFuelTanks.com today.
Good morning and welcome back to Johnson Valley, California for the 2019 King of the Hammers. I'm joined on stage by Ian and we're enjoying the qualifying for the 4500 and the 4800 class cars here today. Had a rollover early on course and we're just waiting for our safety crews to clear that away before we can get back to the action.
Yeah, and so far we have one official time or one unofficial time in so far at 2:54. So we're going to be able to look at that and just sort of see where that number goes for the rest of the day. It was definitely a fast qualifying time, but we really don't know how fast. You know, it's the
Absolutely.
first car on that course.
It looked good. I mean, we also saw Scott Foley. We're just waiting for some timing information to get up here on stage and join us. Once we have that, we will keep bringing you those times as they keep rolling on in.
I think there's no question we're going to see that number get faster and faster and faster all day, especially as we move into the afternoon. We have an official now power hour for this particular class that we'll see out there. But I think that this is, this is a great way to see what happens on this qualifying course. That 2:54, it is a fast number, but how fast it is, we really won't know until we get further along in the day. Absolutely.
For those who are watching now, it's worth noting that power hour is going to be around about 3:30, 4 o'clock this afternoon, and there's going to be all your big favorites in there. We're going to have Albert Contreras, we're going to have Shin McNamara, we're going to have Jesse Hines in that little Rockstar Jeep. We're going to have Jade Wickham, Casey Gilbert, of course, last year's winner, David Hartman, Bailey Cole, son of Dave Cole, of course, Brad Lovell in that beautiful car. It's 11 years old now. Who can believe that? Then Dustin Sexton, Mike Johnson, John Lay, Dennis Lapp, Matt Howes, Jimmy Jack, John Matthews, John Grounds, Sean Rant, Senior Rants, Jesse Oliver, Dan Fresh, and Justin Hall. It's going to be a hell of a power hour this afternoon.
Absolutely.
But before that, we've got lots more action.
Oh, all day today. That's the best part. This is going to last all day with qualifying cars on course, just picking them off, these classes that'll race later in the week. I'm super excited to see the Jesse Haynes Rockstar buggy. I saw it at SEMA. I sat down and talked to Jesse about it. I think it's a really neat idea, and who knows, this may be the start of a whole new breed of class. We saw the UTVs come in a few years ago, well, many years ago now, and now it's a huge class. Who knows? Maybe there'll be a Leaf Spring Rocksor class at some point in time, which would be awesome.
A Mahindra class. I never thought we'd use those words. But no, it's very interesting to see what Jesse's doing. Of course, Jesse's one of the most famous and most successful rock crawlers of all time. And to take that little Mahindra Jeep and turn it into what is capable, a vehicle that's capable of tackling the hammers, that's something very special. And that's what this event is about. It's about engineering. It's about taking an idea and then bringing it to the race course and showing how it works.
It's probably one of my favorite things about all the Ultra 4 classes. You know, we'll see it later this week when you see the trophy trucks roll up on the lake bed. Anyone who's ever spent any time in that world, all those trucks built by many different builders look very similar. Yes. There's a very strict set of rules for their cage design, chassis design, and it's basically figured out. The beauty of Ultra 4 is there's still not that rule book. There's a rule book you have to follow, but we've got mid-engine, front engine, IFS, solid axle. This is really probably, I think, one of the most sort of vast differences of vehicles that you can find in one race class.
It's the diversity of ideas and the diversity of opinions and driving styles that makes Ultra 4 so exciting.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter whether it's 4400 or whether it's 45, 46 or 4800. All of those ideas rain down into each other, and you'll see all of the cars that are racing here today, there are no two that look the same. They all have their own independent mark. And I think the one thing that makes Ultra 4 stand out from many different motorsports is the fact that that usually the drivers and the owners of the vehicles are also the people who build the cars, who actually put all of their love into it. They don't go to a shop and say, hey, I'll have that one. They actually go out there and they put those cars together themselves.
Absolutely, and it's not just the privateers, which you do see a lot in desert racing. You'll see a lot of privateers out there in those race classes that are those guys, but it's the heavy hitters in this sport. I mean, Shannon Campbell, his whole family is in that shop building those cars 9 to 5, probably even more than 9 to 5.
A lot more than 9 to 5, I can assure you.
But they are the ones building those cars and racing them, which I think is the coolest part. But I really do think that the variety of vehicles we get to see here is just amazing. That's what makes Ultra 4 so much fun.
Absolutely. And the other thing that's so nice about Ultra 4 racing, we're here in Hammertown now. You can walk around all of these pits, you can stick your nose through the door, and these guys and girls, they're going to be really happy to show you around their cars, tell you about the history, tell you about what they're doing, the newest innovations. There are no secrets, they're just new ideas.
Absolutely, and I think the technology is just a leaps and bounds. Just as 5 years ago, the thought process still was an IFS car was never going to finish this race, let alone win this race. And then last year we got multiple podium IFS cars.
It's really interesting for me also. It's only 3-4 years ago that we were sitting here and going, if you can have a great day at the office, if you can have a problem-free day, you will probably win hammers. But that rule book's been flipped on its head now. We're actually seeing it being a sprint from start to finish with guys like Jason Shearer, Randy Slawson, absolutely on the limiter from the moment they leave the line to the moment they cross the line.
Oh, you have to be. I think, the reality was that the line for this race used to be, even just 7-8 years ago, was you did not race until the last 20 miles. Now you race the whole race if you want to.
Absolutely. Okay, we got action again, back on track. Our course marshals have done a wonderful job.
Course is clear, and we now have a car out on track right now. Again, we're going to get some more qualifying times here as soon as we can to see how that number's going.
There's Rick Lavezzo that we saw rolled over on the rocks earlier. Our fantastic crews have moved him out of the way now, and we can get back to qualifying.
All right, I got confirmation from race ops. That is Jimmy Johnson out on course right now. He's made it through the short course. He's out of the desert loop. Really great sort of package of this qualifying lap. You've got the short course, which is awesome. You get to see it here in Hammertown. You get to get out, hit some rock trails, and then you get to drop back into that Jeep arch. It is sort of a small microcosm of what is King of the Hammers.
Absolutely, it's everything that you could want to see, but in a tiny little package, which is perfect. As we watch Jimmy Johnson going around now, he's driving in one of the Jimmy's spec class cars, and we hear the roar of engines as someone else heads off the line.
That's Dustin Friesen leaving the line right now in the 4566. You can definitely hear him stretching that engine out in that short course.
Exactly, Justin, of course, one of our front runners in this class. We're getting wonderful views here from our drone cameras. So as Dustin powers his way around and makes his way out to the first of the big table jumps.
It's a great way to leave Hammertown, that last little jump. It's just a great way to sort of come out of that short course, fly through the air, hit that desert, and then just start tearing through that little qualifying course. It's a good course.
As they come off that jump also, they're cutting up that piece of ground more and more each time. So by the time the 4400s get there tomorrow, that's going to be really choppy out the back there and making that suspension work hard. But we're also going to see it get more and more difficult for our guys here for the 45s and the 4800s. And by the time we get to power hour, this is going to be a very changed course.
Oh, absolutely. There'll be changes not only in the short course and in the desert, but also in the rocks. As these cars get out there and move around, these rocks, they don't stay. When you come out here year after year after year, you go to these trails, they've all changed over the winter due to weather, due to movement. It's going to happen. You can't expect the course to stay the same.
Jimmy Johnson now coming back in towards town. And another car leaves the line. I think that's Curtis Harriman, but we're just waiting for confirmation.
All right, we just got clarification through race ops that the actual 4600s are going to be going on a different qualifying course. They're going to bypass the rock sections, just stick to the desert loop, get them out there and get them back in. So they'll have their own batch of qualifying time that'll be different than everyone else. We'll have to sort of pay attention to that throughout the day to make sure that we're not mixing those up with you. All right, so we're just getting some times in here so far. So we got Dustin Friesen right now is sitting in first with a 2:49 on the qualifier.
And in second, we got Kent Foltz with a 2:54. And in third, we got Scott Foley with a 3:33. So, and then Jimmy Johnson with a 3:36. So we're just starting to get some times on the board now. And it'll start to give us some areas that we can work on, start to see who's going to get faster, see what classes are going to be working out quicker. There's always a bit of needle between the 4800s and the 4500s as to who's got the faster cars. 4500s, of course, allowed twin shocks, triple bypass. The 4800s only allowed a single shock, although a lot of these cars now, particularly the top runners, are running internal bypass. As shock technology moves on, they're improving their cars.
Oh, absolutely. I think the biggest thing you can see out here up until race day is you'll see guys out there shock tuning constantly. It is now, it always has been, but now in this particular race classes, it's bled down. You know, the 4400s were usually the only guys out there shock tuning. Then the 48 started doing it. Now it's just become part and parcel. You'll see guys in stock class out there taking advantage of some of those shock tuning sessions, because if your suspension's working right, you will be faster in this race.
Absolutely. It's also about comfort. You have to remember these guys are going to be out there in this class. They're going to be doing over 100 miles of racing. That's a long day in the chair. Okay, so if you're being bucked and smashed around, it's bad for you, it's bad for the car. So they're going to want to get their suspension dialed in. And everyone says, oh, you know, I got my car dialed in last year. Why do I need to do it this year? Because the course changes. Everything changes. The wind, the weather shapes Johnson Valley, and that makes a big difference to how the cars react to the ground.
Absolutely. We can see we're picking a more conservative line through the rocks here right now. We're not, doesn't seem to be setting the world on fire, but he's coming back into Hammertown right now.
That's what you were saying earlier. There'll be some of these guys that'll be really pushing for a very fast qualifying time. Some of these guys who just be wanting to make sure they're just a little bit further up the pack, saving their gear for the main race.
It really just depends how much work you want to do between now and race day.
Absolutely, as we're watching Shane Smith on the line now, waiting to start. Shane Smith, of course, 4800 class.
All right, Michael Justo on camera right now. You can see him going up through the rock section right there.
Taking a nice conservative line, picking his routes. Saw Scott Foley heading up through here earlier. He had wheels off the ground as he was making his way out the back of Short Bus. I'm going to see different driving styles all through today. Shane Smith takes off the line. Here and checking his gears as he makes his way around into the Talladega bends. For a lot of these drivers, it'll be the first time they've driven bank turns. And quite often we see them get into problems here. You mustn't back off the throttle. It's got to be a steady increase of the throttle as you make your way around. If you back off, that near side tire digs in, spins you out, and you're on your roof before you know it.
Yeah, we normally see a few rollovers in those short course areas, especially even more so as the day wears on, because those turns will get rutted and rutted and rutted out.
And he catches out experienced drivers. Don't forget, Jesse Combs last year stuck her bomber on its roof. No one was expecting that. So it just goes to show, even very experienced drivers who've won a lot of championships and bits and pieces, they can make mistakes there. So you've got to concentrate 100% at all times.
Absolutely. Yeah, we saw Jesse in that short course rollover last year, right out of the gate in that 4400 car. You know, sometimes making that jump up to the faster class, faster car. You know, you're used to. You can get used to driving what you're used to driving, and then you get in something else, and it's a whole different world.
As another car crosses the line to take a finish. We will be getting time shortly, and we will keep you up to date as soon as we have that information. So we watch Shane Smith there making his way up the far side of short bus. Wheels off the ground, good speed here from Shane.
Yeah, you can tell Shane's really pushing hard. He wants that close spot near the front. Right now, I think we're still sitting with a fast time, unofficial fast time of 2:49. So we'll just see what comes out after that.
Yeah, Dustin Friesen really threw it down. Great to see. We were saying earlier, Dustin's one of the top runners. He'll be happy with that. Clean run, no problems with the car. And now everyone else has got to chase his time. Great place to be.
Yeah, you can see Shane Smith as he's pushing hard. He wants that fast time. You can tell by how he comes off the back of that mountain.
As we watch Earl Christie there, heading off the line as Shane Smith makes his way back towards the finish. It's worth noting that the finish line this time is denoted by 2 checkered feather flags and also the huge monster inflatable can on course.
Yeah,
Shane Smith just about to come down through the Jeep arch. Now, which line's he going to take here, Ian? Have you been up there? You had a look yourself?
I have. I go up every year to take a quick look at it. It's fun to see. There's, you know, you got the big drop-off line, which can save you some time, where you can go around the other side. It just sort of depends which one you're committed to. Absolutely.
It's also interesting for me as you stand here and you look at it and you think, oh yeah, that's not so bad. Then you get up there and realize it's nearly a vertical cliff.
Absolutely.
So you're going down whichever way you like it.
Absolutely.
Always good though to have 4 wheels facing down.
And you know, you might just looking at it, you think that's 3 lines and there's no big difference there, but you can make up a second in that spot if you plan it right. If you come off that center line fast, but it can also end your qualifying lap right within view of the finish line.
As we're watching Earl Christie there coming on down through, and he's looking fast. This is looking really good indeed. Brandix Motorsports car, and it's looking really hot. As we're watching Jesse Lee here lining up, getting ready for his run, and Earl Christie making his way back.
Mike Stokes is on the line. Will be the next one to leave out on a qualifying lap. We're still waiting on some updated times to get with you guys, but right now we're still sitting with a fast time of 2:49.
Okay, we've got a rollover out on course by the Jeep Arches. Look at that.
That's exactly what we were just talking about. That is the worst place to roll over for many reasons, but most importantly, you can see the finish line, and that's never a fun place to end your qualifying lap.
And you have to say that's quite spectacular. That's what we call a full turtle.
Oh yeah, that's completely upside down. You got to respect that.
But he won't be sitting there thinking to himself, God, I've done a good job there. He's going to be sitting there thinking, God damn, I'm starting at the back.
It is one of those situations where you could be feeling that you got the ultimate qualifying lap going. You might feel good. That just shows you that at any given time, these trails will jump out and can end your day. We're just watching qualifying here, incredibly short race, but during the big race, this happens so many times on course.
It does, yeah. But that's the beauty of Ultra 4 racing, and that's why we love to watch it, because you never know what's going to happen next.
Oh, there's never a guaranteed finish or even a guaranteed win in Ultra 4 racing, because you just don't know what's going to happen on what trail when.
And we're looking at this stunning car coming down through short bus, just being checked up there by our marshals. Bad break for this guy.
You can see the recovery team will work quickly to get that car. It's important, not only they want to get that car over onto its wheels for many reasons. One, clear the course, make sure the driver's safe, make sure everyone's good, but then also to keep the qualifying moving. The longer that trail is stopped, the longer that the current qualifiers on course are going to be stopped and have to wait.
Yeah, we're just getting confirmation that anybody's actually on course while our recovery teams are working to clear away this road car. They will get a chance to rerun their run again. And in many ways, that's pretty cool, because you've already had a chance to feel that ground
I'd be
beneath your wheels.
incredibly happy with that news.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm not going to lie. I would
be
sitting in my car right now with a huge smile on my face, because now I get to go back to the start. I know what the short course feels like. I know what part of the desert feels like, and I know what part of the rocks feel like. You just gave these two guys an ultimate sort of leg up in this qualifying course. This is great news for them.
It is indeed.
All right, well, while we get that car recovered on course, we've got some more qualifying action coming away. We're just going to take a quick break. We'll get back to the action here shortly. Coming to you right here from Johnson Valley, California, 2019, Nitto, King of the Hammers, powered by Optima.
Renowned worldwide for reliability, the ARB air locker is a must-have for off-road drivers, including rock crawlers, overlanders, and racers. With over 100 applications, ARB Air Lockers gives your vehicle the traction you need to tackle virtually any challenge with the flip of a switch. Now through March 31st, buy any ARB Air Locker and receive an ARB air compressor absolutely free.
When I'm not working under that big American flag, you can find me here, enjoying the great outdoors. The trees, the streams, and best of all, the wildlife. Check out these treks. Deer, raccoon, and my favorite, Jeep.
At Big O, we've got great deals on a huge inventory of rugged Jeeps that can take you almost anywhere.
Whoa, those are big. Could only be from one thing. Big O, as always, under that big American flag on the Motor Mile. Proud sponsor of Ultra 4 Racing and King of the Hammers.
And accessories designed, developed, and manufactured in the USA. Genuine ideas engineered right.
Years of off-road racing dominance. Proprietary patented race technology. Proudly made in the USA. Unparalleled customer service and support. The choice of champions. King Shocks, the leader in off-road shock technology.
And welcome back to King of the Hammers 2019 in Johnson Valley. It's a beautiful day here, and I'm joined by Ian on stage, and it's all action and go for the 4800 and 4500 qualifying. Out on course, we've already had 2 rollovers, and we're just waiting for Michael Kiesling to be cleared away from the Jeep Arch, and we can get this qualifying session back underway. What are you reckoning, Ian?
Well, I think the good news for the guys that are on the course right now is we've been told that they're going to be brought back. They're going to be able to redo their qualifying lap. Probably the best decision for the race officials, because even if you stop them on course and stop their time, they have to get started again. So it's not really fair to them. I think it's a benefit to them because they're actually going to have a little bit of seat time on that qualifying course. So far, our
but then you've also got that double whammy, because now, of course, you're sitting there and you're nervous. You've already been sitting there for a while waiting for your qualifying to start, and now you've got that double whammy of having to sit there again and wait. You've got yourself revved up, you've got yourself in that place, you're in that zone, and now you've got to do it all again. That could be a bad news for a driver. You can overthink a situation.
Oh, absolutely. I think that that's just one of those things, but at the same time, you know, being able to rerun that qualifier, we're still waiting for some official times, and we're still looking at a fast time right now of 2:49, which is an incredibly fast time so far on this course. We only have, I think, 3 other cars in that sub 3 minute mark. So right now we're sitting with a few drivers in that fast slot. We're just gonna have to see who else can make up that time and come in with an even faster time.
So some nice shots there. Michael Kiesling, who rolled earlier.
All right, we have Daniel May Applegate leaving the line on a 4600 car. You see a lot of Cherokees in that class. So it seems to be a great platform for guys to build on to come out on that 4600 class.
The 4600 class, of course, sponsored by Spider Tracks. Spider Tracks, a fantastic axle manufacturer. Tom Kingston will be watching at home. He's got a bad back. Tom, we hope you get better soon. Spider Tracks, one of the original supporters of King of the Hammers all those years ago. Can you believe it's 11 years ago? Well, in fact, nearly 12 years ago. Incredible.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just sort of, it feels like yesterday. You know, I remember sitting in a Red Robin with Dave Cole 11 years ago or 12 years ago with him telling me about this idea, and I just think it was one of those things that's blown up ever since then, and it's amazing to see how many people come out here and take part in this race.
Let's not forget today it's all about the 4500s, the 4800s and the 4600s for qualifying for the Everyman Challenge. That's the 4-wheel parts Everyman Challenge that's going to be taking place very shortly. Just look at this, he makes his way up through the back of Short Bus here. Now on the 4800s, the 45s and 46s, it used to be a few years ago, we used to start them in class order, so they would go out as a whole class, then the next class would start. Things have changed now, Ian. We've moved on, we've got new rules coming through, and what it means now is if you're a 4800 class car and you qualify first out of everyone, you go first. If you're a 4500 class car, you qualify second, you go second. That's fantastic news for the drivers. It means that you're in timed orientation, which is great for you. You're racing with those guys who really are as fast as you are, so you don't get held up.
Yes, absolutely, and I think you can sort of attest to how fast some of these classes have gotten over the years as to why this had to happen. But right now we got Joey Simone leaving the line.
It's a cracking looking vehicle, this. Simone Racing. Look at this. Old school Jeep lines. Really pretty looking truck.
Now all week, all day today, we're going to be doing just the EMC, the 4500, 4600, and 4800 qualifying. For those of you at home who aren't fans of Ultra 4 racing or maybe new to it, I think it'd be a good time to talk about what are the different classes. You know, we have many different courses out here. So basically, I have a cheat sheet up here that we can look at, so we can just basically tear through it all. But we basically have the Yukon 4500 modified class car. That's going to be a car with a stock frame or box style. You can have an aftermarket frame, but it can't be a full tube chassis car. It has to be a production vehicle. You can have any engine and transmission combination allowed, but it must retain some sort of manual steering. So basically, you can't do a full hydraulic steering. You have to.
But it does mean you've got to look at some of these cars. They're very clever. You've got to read those rules and you've got to understand them. It has to have a mechanical link. Now, if we look at people's cars, like particularly Jimmy Jack, he's very clever. He actually has a cable-operated system. Okay, he's pretty much full hydro. But what he's done is using very clever cable system, so if you disabled his hydro, you'd still be able to turn the steering. So therefore he has a mechanical link, but he has all the advantages of a hydro steer as well. And it's innovation and clever thinking like this that's the difference between winning and losing races.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's one of the coolest things about, we would call these the lower classes of cars, because they're not.
No. These are the lower classes.
Exactly.
It's really important that we get that across, because what it is, it's a different level of thought process. It's a different level of racing and a different type of racing. And for example, many people go to 4800 for the one reason, and that's because of the steering issue. So in 4800 Legends class, okay, you're only allowed a single shock per corner, but you are allowed to have full hydraulic steering. Now that in itself cures so many problems for many other drivers, and that's why we're seeing the 4800 class as being one of the fastest growing classes in Ultra 4 racing.
Oh, absolutely. It's also sort of been the class where if you had a car, maybe an older Ultra 4 car, you see a lot of older Ultra 4 cars in that class, hence the name Legends class.
And let's talk about the legend himself, Brad Lovell, that amazing car. It's 11 years old and it still looks absolutely fantastic. As soon as it comes up on as soon as you see it arrive on the start line, you just go, wow, even 11 years on.
Yeah, I think that the coolest thing about having the Levels out here racing that car is the fact that it has raced in so many different races as well, not just in Ultra 4. They've competed in a car that similar style back in the old XRRA days, and even in the old We Rock competition. That car has been synonymous with the Level brothers for decades. And on the line right now is an actual 48 car, 4819.
That's Jesse Lee.
That is the Brannick Motorsports 4800 class. We were just talking about that. That is the Legends class. So that is a front-mounted engine car, 2 seats, single shock per corner, solid axle, no TTB or IFS, so no twin traction beam or independent front suspension allowed.
It's a real noise there. Simone Racing, Joe Simone there in the number 21 car, making his way up past Short Bus. Different line. This is what we're saying earlier. Every driver has a different driving style. Every car is a different way of putting down the power. And that's what makes this so exciting. Watching Joe Simone now, making his way back towards Hammertown. Nice clean run. No co-driver in his car, he's out there on his own. As we watch Jesse Lee there. As Joe Simone crosses the line, and we'll wait for confirmation of his time. But it's Dustin Friesen that still has the top time at the moment.
That 249 is holding, even though we've seen lots of guys come in good and fast. That 249 is still our fast time of the day.
Different line hooking out to the right there. Rocks are flying. There's a slight change in the weather here as well. It's just suddenly got a bit nippier.
Well, when the
cloud
sun goes
covers
away,
come in,
it gets colder, yes. That's why I'm glad I have my flannel shirt with me today.
There's Jesse Lee here coming on down 48.19. He's looking quick as he comes off the back of short bus. Be coming around the corner in a moment, heading up towards the Jeep arches, and then he's got three choices, three different lines off the back of the Jeep arch. It's hard to see from here, but they are all gnarly. Very, very steep descents. We've already seen one car on his roof just before the Jeep arch.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you're so close to the end, you can push just a little bit too hard and end your day so close to Hammertown.
Well, this is full commitment here. As he comes around there, he wouldn't have been able to see much. His bonnet would have been up, or his hood, should I say, as he rises round. It's a great job here. This is going to be a very quick time.
All right, so right now we have a time in on that one at Jesse Lee at 3:18. So we still have a leader in place with a 2:49.
Well, it just goes to show how fast Dustin's time, how fast Dustin was earlier on today. And he'll be very happy with that.
All right, I think we're just going to take a quick break in the action here as we tally up some times, pick out our leaderboard, and we'll be back shortly to the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers, powered by Optima.
4WP is more than a store. We're truck and Jeep experts and have been for over 50 years. From wheel and tire upgrades to full custom builds, 4WP has you covered. Whether you want to order the best parts online or shop in store, do the work yourself or get it done by a pro, all roads lead to 4WP. Do your rig right. Shop online or find your store at 4WP.com.
We didn't just test the new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology, we tortured it. King of the Hammers is 181 battery-killing miles of relentless, unforgiving hellishness. It's one thing to call yourself the ultimate power source. It's another thing to prove it. The all-new Optima Yellow Top with Pure Flow technology with up to 3 times the battery life. Unsurpassed performance built to fit today's vehicles. Optima, the ultimate power source.
Okay, here we are. It's King of the Hammers 2019 in Johnson Valley, California, and we're here today for the 4500 and the 4800 qualifying. We've already seen 1 hour of fierce action out there. Dustin Friesian now has the lead time, but then we're going to see that probably changing as the day goes on. We're going to be coming back some more live action very soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, the coolest part about the 4-wheel parts qualifying that's going on today is the fact that we have such a mix of cars out on the course right now. We have 48s, 45s, 4600s. Everyone's out there, and you can really sort of see how well they're working and how well their day's going to go. But yes, we do have a fast time today so far of 2:49, and nobody's been able to beat it. We've seen a couple cars come close, but right now we're sitting with a fast qualifying time of 2:49 with Dustin Friesen, and I think that might hold for a while, but their next batch are going to be leaving the line here at 11 this morning, and then we'll see if that time holds or see if we have new people coming into place.